Yeah, the tables can be a distraction if they're not used right away or they're not brought out until right before being used. But I would say this, excuse me, these guys can work, man. This is great. And the only reason I'm taking Gurria's off of this match is the same as the other one, creative. You literally you did a Tony Gurria. Hey, you're big and you're big. You're going to have a WrestleMania match. It's like you two guys can work. We don't need too much. We don't need to take great care. Doesn't need to be vignettes. You got the eye patch thing from the windshield, but you didn't give it enough time for Drew to say he was blind and then do the Sandman, rip it off and attack Damien Priest and leave him bloody the week before WrestleMania. Drew could have been, I have to retire. He could have went the whole gambit just from that eye thing, right? And we would have had something at WrestleMania. And you know what? Just in theory, because it never works out, and in modern times, I don't know if it would make sense. When Drew's eye was hurt, and Drew said basically something to the effect that you almost took my sight, they should have had the Prince of Darkness match or the blind match with the hoods. Storytelling, old school, it could translate horribly in 2025. But strictly, if you're going to do the eye thing, you got to at least do the fake blindness and the jump before WrestleMania, or the match involves both men not being able to see.
You know, Jake and Rick Martel did that on WrestleMania 7. And
Was it 7 or 6?
7. Promise you,
okay.
7. Because I had that tape when I was a kid. And I had the TV recording of it, not the VHS tape that they sold afterwards, because they cut out the flub, the blooper, the botch, where Jake puts the hood on and then he reaches under it and scratches his face and you can see his finger through the hood.
Oh.
So I always remember that, if nothing else.
The lights are going to be much brighter at WrestleMania 41. They probably could just see it looks, yeah, it's like a wicker basket on their head.
Yeah, they've got like some magic, some
I take it back.
magician's kind of sack kind of thing, I guess. There's something specifically I want to talk to you about here in the match, and it's not the match itself, it's Damien Priest. And I don't know if I'm just a naysayer or something like that. I know people within the business who rate Damien Priest incredibly highly. But as a fan watching, I'm one of those people who I don't get it. I don't get it with Priest. I think he's really dry. He doesn't connect with me at all on an emotional level, whereas someone like Drew is just an absolute champion on social media and his interviews and his character and stuff like that. So in my mind, I see Priest way below Drew as far as championship material or, main event material. Am I being too harsh? How do you see it?
Well, you're being very objective, but once again, it's not Damien Priest's fault. He carried a lot of stuff when he came in. He had the arrow gimmick and everything, good presentation, and it was during the COVID era, so he had to really work in front of those people. That's tough. So with that being said, the Judgment Day thing was super flat because Edge was the leader. They should have just went their own way right after that and not tried to do what they're still trying to do. Damien Priest is a big dude, has a great look, but guess who else had that for years and years and years, and they did nothing with him? Drew McIntyre. It has to take. Drew found lightning in the bottle from an accident, giving Punk the Future Shock DDT, tore his tricep, and then ran with it. Priest has not had the opportunity to fight or flight based on a situation. Drew might be in the same spot as Damien Priest, but he was allowed to show his real personality as kind of a very entertaining heel to the point where people like him now. But Damien Priest, it's not his fault. He has to have the right situation to capitalize on, or once again, another theme, for creative to take care of Damien Priest. Man, that was a tough match to watch, though. It was a street fight, so there we go with maybe that's why the girls, Tiffany and Charlotte, didn't have a hardcore match or a Falls Count Anywhere. But man, Priest, especially throwing that chair, I don't know what happened there where that could have been what went wrong, where Drew just didn't sell the chair. He must not have thought it looked like it hit him because he hit him with the boot right after that.
Yeah, they did a replay, and it really looked like it missed him. So I think he just, as you would say, called an audible and just went through with the Claymore anyway.
Well, they must have had
the right thing to do.
They must have had a good secondary angle at the time and threw it in replay. Because if Drew had sold that, I would have been none the wiser from the hard camera or whatever that he didn't get, or a handheld thing from the corner, one of those. And it looked like it hit him at least in the shoulder. It looked ugly. It looked like it was coming at him sideways. Like Wade Barrett really covered that.
Now, I want to go back to Priest briefly. So I saw an interview with him. He was still the Raw World Champion at the time, and I think he was walking around New York, I guess, and going to a baseball field or something like that. And it's one of those things where, okay, you're out of character. Don't yawn at me. Sorry, we're yawning at each other.
WrestleMania. Oh.
No, every single time the other person talks, the other one's yawning. Just we're both tired, what can I say? Yeah, Priest was doing a interview like at a baseball field or walking towards it or something like that, and I thought, this is your time to, really let out your inner personality, whatever. I thought he was just as boring as he was on screen. I don't think that Damien Priest has that next gear of larger-than-life personality to attract someone like me to him as far as, a fan to a wrestler. That's my big worry about him. He might be fine in the ring and everything, but he hasn't got that extra gear to turn it up. It's like Karrion Kross. He does. He's way more entertaining away from wrestling than he is in wrestling. We know he can do things. Damien Priest hasn't shown me anything, anywhere that he can.
Well, I mean, I'll get back to Drew. When he was doing it, when he went on his run to become WWE champion, he was a babyface, but he was about sort of flat as you can be. The story was great, childhood dream. And look at him just a few years later. It just takes that one thing for Damien Priest. I agree, but in the vein of what he's doing, I mean, he's still special. Just the size alone, the airport, walking through the airport, he's special. He's like Rey Mysterio and other people. He still appeals to demographics that the company want people, Latin American people, Mexican people. They want them to watch the show. And I think the disconnect with him that I never like is when every single wrestler that can speak Spanish and English does the Spanglish and then the English version. And that, to me, during his promos is a disconnect.
One more thing, right? So when I mentioned at the beginning of this little segment, said that tables were laid out by Drew McIntyre, and he did a great thing because the camera's right there, and then Drew looks right in the camera and starts talking to the camera.
I wish he would have said real wood, cry me a river.
Yeah, it's real particle board, cry me sawdust. And Damien Priest, when he goes through inevitably to lead to the finish, and this wasn't the first time this happened at WrestleMania, I can't remember the first time. As he went backwards into the tables, he held his head like that, like he was reclining. I remember when we were talking about tables and how to go through them, you said that was maybe the worst thing you could do. Now, Does this depend on if it's more than one table? Does it depend if it's in the ring or out the ring, how you take that bump?
I just feel like if you're taking a bump, it's like if you want to, all right, take a back bump off a shoulder block. Are you going to reach back with your hands over your shoulders and grab your head as you're taking the bump? Now, after the bump, you grab your head. It's just not, how can I say, it's not as safe. There's no safe way to go through a table. Bob Holly will tell you that. Stuff can go wrong. But you want to be braced this way because what if he tears a rotator cuff? What if something happens and his tricep does tear? What if with that hand back there, he breaks his wrist or his hand? Little stuff like that. You're not concerned with this part of your body or the hands going back. You're concerned with the meat, the back of your body going through the table and the table separating. That's all anybody's watching. I don't know why people choose to protect their heads like that because you're already tucking your chin. So yeah, I'm mystified by that. I don't think it's the best idea because you will get a Rey Mysterio type injury from almost absolutely nothing where nobody can really look at it and say, well, how did he tear his tricep if he had his hand? Well, that's how. Bicep, tricep, rotator cuff.
Next, I've just got to mention one celebrity. Tony Hinchcliffe was in the audience. He got booed unmercifully, and I'm really happy because not only is he tragically unfunny, he has ruined every single Joe Rogan interview where he's had a wrestler by just being the salacious B. Crumb to Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, I've got a fact. He's really irritating. And then he ruined that Raw segment as well. Can't stand him. Next one, IC title, 4-way. I didn't even write down who was in it. Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, Penta, and Braun breaker. I wrote no notes on this. I just sat back and enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. This is definitely the finish that made sense.
Oh, I'm sorry. I messed up. Gurias for Damien and Drew.
Gurias for Damien and Drew is going to be 4 Gurias.
4 Gurias, my apologies.
Take one off for creative. I take none off for talent on this show.